We're downloading A-Game's formula.
3, 2, 1.
Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey, how's everybody doing? How you doing? Ooh. Hope everybody's having a great day. We got some stuff to talk about. I am apologetic. This week has been really hectic for me in a lot of different ways, and it has resulted in me coming here late consecutively. For that, I want to apologize to everyone. I will get it together and be here at 3:30. Like the show is posted for. So please forgive me for my tardiness to my own show and having everyone waiting on me. So my apologies for that. Thank you, Mrs. Casely. I hope you're doing good, sweetheart. Yeah, I know you guys are really patient and things of that nature, but you know, it's about doing right by people. You know, you don't just, you just don't just assume that people are okay with, oh, I'm just gonna be late. You know, that's part of not valuing one another and not, you know what I mean? Not valuing the time of each other and really to a certain degree not respecting my audience. Thank you, Frederick. Said can't fair, don't be late. So we got some stuff to talk about. I wanted to talk about passport bros, but you know, it's a lot of things. How alaikum assalam, Miss Sajideen, how you doing, baby? I have got to connect with you, my sweet sister. So I got a lot of talk to talk about the passport bros. But it's a lot going on. Y'all heard about the young brother that collapsed on the football field. I think it was Monday. I think it was the Monday night game. And how Skip Bayless is acting behind it. Now, I know I'm not a I'm not a sports channel. Yeah, Damar Hamlin, young man. And then he was in critical condition. After that, they had to revive him, and then they had to rush him to the hospital. Prayers out to that young man and his family. Because it's one thing to get an injury, oh man, my leg, oh man, I hurt my arm, oh man, I hurt my hand. It's another thing, that young man is 23, and they say he had a heart attack on the field. I might have to roast Skip for an hour. And he pushing Unc to this brink too. And the only reason I think Unc is still there is because he's contractually bound to be there on that show. But you can tell Unc is mad. Unc is very upset. But we're gonna talk about that. Hopefully tomorrow we can get on Skip Bayless and that whole reaction, because there's a lot that I can say about it. Coming from his perspective and how callous. See how they, you know what? I'm going to save it for tomorrow. He made Unc mad again today. Unc just been mad at him ever since Skip disrespected Shannon to his face about his football ability and disrespecting the fact that he's a Hall of Famer for Brady, on the decline Brady. I think Unc was done with him then. Thank you, Chris 1911. So I just got back from Ethiopia, and I'm not saying it's a utopia, but I will say this: I met me a 9 that want to get requests. Hey, congrats on that. But what we're going to do is get to the passport bro situation, because it is becoming a widespread thing for not only black women. Hey, Dr. Sherry, not only black women, but women all over are having to, or not having to, but they are getting out on social media to talk crap, like, and not just a little crap, to talk big about passport bros in a very, very negative way. But of course, here on the Crimson Cure channel, we don't focus on what other ethnicities of women are doing. We focus on what black women are doing, because that is the community from which I come, and I am a black woman. So the overall general perception that black women carry, I carry it, whether it's good or bad, or whether I participate in it personally or not, right? You know what, y'all? Y'all are saying some really key things in this chat about the and the side effects. Now it's coming to fruition. But anyway, I'm going to save it for tomorrow. Last time I talked about the passport bros, we went over the article that has been circulating around the internet. And it's a Yahoo News article. And it was talking about the passport bros. Are y'all familiar with that article? Do I need to read it again? Put a 1 in the chat if you want me to read it again. Put a 2 in the chat if I don't need to. Okay, y'all saying I don't need to. Okay. So what I'm going to do is take out or talk about some of the critiques or criticisms that these women had for passport bros. One of the big things that they had as a critique was that it was the only ones that are passport bros are weak black men that don't know how to court black women. Okay? That's one of the number one critiques. That passport bros are just a group of weak dudes with no game. You know, they lame, they this, they that. And they don't, you know, they weak. They don't know how to handle a black woman. I'm real tired of that handling you. I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent. I'm real sick of the handling you. Why somebody gotta handle you? You need to heal if somebody gotta handle you. I'm telling you, if you need to be handled, there's healing to be done. Because when you are feminine, you don't need to be handled. You are looked after. You are given the 4 P's. And when necessary, you are corrected by your husband. But never needing to be handled. Feminine women don't need to be handled. We need to be kept in our order. We need to be kept under the order of our husbands. We need to have our chaos to be checked and make sure that it's not getting out of hand or getting out of the parameters of the order and the structure. But what we aren't doing as feminine women is being handled, because that implies that there's a danger, that there's a, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I gotta really, that energy must be exerted. An unnecessary energy has to be exerted. Almost a negative energy is gonna have to be exerted to get you in order, and barely so. You're barely gonna be in order. The next time, the time he take his hands off of you, you're gonna go right back to getting stupid. So nobody needs to handle you. If black men are weak, why do they matter? If the men who are going overseas, wherever, to look for other women of other ethnicities and cultures, if these men are weak, then what does it matter that they leave? Why are you pressed and bothered that they are gone? Why are you upset that these men whom you have decided are weak leave from your presence? Why are you upset? You should be happy, or at least indifferent to the fact that they are gone. First, the men are not weak. Let's get that straight. That is not the reason why these men have opted to do what they need to do for themselves and looking after their own needs. See, this is what we are talking about when we talk about men going to get their needs met. This is passport bros to a lot of these hyenas represents a collective cheating on black women. Y'all realize that? Y'all realize that the reason why a lot of these black women are upset is because this is like black men doing a collective cheating on them. Black men are collectively cheating on the collective of black women. And you know how hyenas feel about cheating. They don't understand the concept of meeting needs, that I haven't met his needs. So therefore, he's going to go and get his needs met. Often we talk about the analogy of being hungry. I'm hungry, you know, you're not going to feed me, and then you're going to try to bar me from feeding myself. It's not going to work. Something going to have to give. Something got to give. And this is where a lot of that anger, that bitterness, that hurt is coming from a lot of black women, because this is what it is when they have decided that they done played too much and something now has to give. Black women have spent the last 7 decades declaring how they do not need black men. About 7 or 8 decades or so now. And they have been doing in all of that time, spreading all of the ills of black men, some real and some imagined. They went around, and we know what it is. Thank you, Frederick said men don't care about hot girl summers. Who mad? Exactly. Thank you, John said so the men they don't want are cheating. No logic. Exactly. And thank you for your support. They spent the last 7 decades or so spreading misinformation and assassinating the collective character of black men all over mass media before there was a social media. And they supported the cultural narrative, and in many cases created the cultural narrative about black men. Thank you, Team Mason Plaza said these are the same women that don't want us, but yet we can't be happy with someone else. Exactly. Spent all that time on Oprah. Spent all that time on all of those talk shows. Spent a lot of time writing books. Spent a lot of time promoting the concept over the weaknesses of black men, the inadequacies of black men. So that when y'all took on the strong, independent, I don't need a man, it was like the world had to understand where y'all was coming from because these men were inadequate. You had all kind of TV shows that began to promote this single woman, single black woman narrative, and that a single black woman would be okay without the covering of men as long as she had the covering of the sisterhood. Let's talk about it. Because if you remember the show Living Single, ooh, and in a 90s kind of world, I'm glad I got my girls. It touted the so-called sisterhood. And it was telling black women that you don't need the covering of a man. You'll be okay with a career, a little money in your pocket, and your girlfriends. No masculinity, no male covering, no 4Ps. You can get that from society and you'll be fine. You will be able to live a fulfilled life as a woman. And we know black women like to believe everything they see on TV. So all that you got to do is perpetuate that kind of thought pattern and black women will go with it. Thank you. John said, too bad they don't have the same energy for how they deal with Ray Ray and Man Man. Thank you. Marriage said, Passport Bro movement is right on time. It's concrete evidence of the impact of the manosphere, even if by unintended consequence. True. And not only, I would say, not only the influence of the manosphere itself, but that played a real big part in it. but just the behavior of the women. That's why it got legs. Even outside of the manosphere. Because the behavior of the women, the men are not lying about that. The men are not lying about that. The so-called weakness, if we want to translate that into crimsonese, the weakness is the men expressing not having a desire to accept the outright misandry, right? Black women have made a spectacle of openly disrespecting, openly mistreating black men, and then making light of it. Right? The open mistreatment of black men and then making light of that mistreatment of them. All over social media, this is what we find. Black women mistreating, endangering black men on purpose, like that LaTruth. Thank you, Original Man said password bros are escaping the friend zone, stepdaddy traps, masculine energy, entitlement, selfishness, manipulative, misandry, and gold digging. Exactly. Not being your emotional pillow that you cry on every night, or your resident masculine energy that you can pull from without giving anything. And that's where the entitlement comes from. So just like that LaTruth lady, that woman, that hyena there, videotaped, didn't care that she was being taped. This is the callousness and the openness with which they, with which they do what they do. She didn't even care that her husband was videotaping her on the phone, lying to the police in such a way that really could have got him deleted. And judging from what he had said as it was going on, that wasn't the first time that she would lie on him in that way. Thank you, Howard King. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that contribution. I really appreciate, and I appreciate all the contributions. Thank you so much. They keep the channel running. They really do. So thank you. So that's the weakness. The so-called weakness is black men not having a desire to accept that type of outright disrespect and just publicly, the public disrespect, the public smacks in the face that black women give and then laugh and then want black men to come back and be men to them and husbands to them and all of that type of stuff. Thank you, Datorian. The next complaint, the next big complaint that they had was that the men who were leaving were not searching for love. That they were only going over there, wherever they were going, to get women to have sex with them. Now, the problem with that is that that's also an outright lie. Because black men had been looking for and searching for family and connection and relationships with y'all before they decided that they needed to leave. Thank you, Barry, said Kendra in chat. The sisterhood is in a panic because their supply of CompuServes and human doormats is coming to an end, and guess who's not mad? Thank you. Thank you so much. Black men had been looking for love with you to begin with. Thank you, Michael McCoo. Thank you so much. Living single was a lesbian show, by the way. I mean, those were the vibes. That was what they were really pushing in a very underhanded way. Notice that the only one that really got a man was the most feminine, and they played her off as the stupid one, which was Sinclair. So in order for a black woman to be submissive and to be feminine, she needed to be also stupid and ditzy and dense. See how long they've been putting that out there? Just in the atmosphere. Anyway, thank you, Michael, and thank you, J Rockside. Kendra, did you see the clip of Vivica Fox and the Hyena Clan make light of a young black man's depression? Yeah, I did a whole show on it. Thank you so much. Thank you again, John. Said, didn't Living Single come on after Martin and then New York Undercover on Thursday? I don't remember the lineup, but yeah, it used to have prime time slot though. It's only black women that believe that black men are only capable of transactional sex. Right? Black women are the ones that brought an end to the sanctity of marriage and family. Black women did that through the acceptance of feminism, through that whole, strong, independent, through getting into thought culture, getting into baby mama culture, getting into hoe culture, getting into all of that and going deep into it. That is what broke the sanctity of marriage and family. Black men did not break that. We always say black men did not break the social contract. Black women did that. Black women did that. Thank you, Chano. So I think the passport movement is really black men moving away from black women because black women inculcate the mindset of white supremacy, a mindset black women refuse to relinquish. Why you jump ahead of me like that, Chano? You know I'm gonna go there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Courtney. Said black women say passport bros are afraid of competition, so they leave. Now realizing Western women are failing in competition with foreign women. Exactly. Thank you, Original Man. Say Stellas have been getting their grooves back for decades in Jamaica. For decades, they can't criticize passport bros. They can't. And it's so much deeper, too. Black women's wholesale acceptance of not only all of the concepts and ideas of feminism. We just got through, did 2 shows about feminism not being a black woman's fight. And we saw those black women spouting out things that didn't have nothing to do with nothing. None of what they was concerned about had anything to do with joining a family together. None of what them women talked about or was concerned about had anything to do with building up the nuclear family or shoring up their communities or straightening out their homes or making sure that their men and their children were taken care of to the best of their ability. None of them women had none of that to say. All of it was about me. I want to have baby deletions and, I'm worried about the wrong things. None of them had nothing of substance to say. Talking about complete nonsense. That panel was nonsense. There was nothing of substance and there was nothing of importance stated in that whole panel. All you saw was a bunch of lost value system females getting mad at the 2 females on the panel that did not outright represent or outright support the lost value system. That's why they was getting mad. But anyway, headed back to my point. Thank you so much, Eugene. So I'm all for women's rights, but where it all went haywire was the egos that the newfound abilities of women doing the same things that men do messaged. That's where the I don't need a man mentality was rooted in. Thank you so much, Eugene. Thank you so much for that. According to one of the ladies that was on the panel, Sydney, she said it was 4 hours. I can believe that they cut down 4 hours to 43 minutes. Because they do that. They take all your time for 5 minutes of your time. And then they splice it up. And it may or may not make sense at the end of it. But we're going to hit on a key point with this whole, the losing of the family or getting rid of the sanctity of family and marriage. But after these messages, we'll be right back.
This is Norrin for A-Game TV, and we're at the A-Game 8th Annual Father and Son Day Carnival. Well, let's talk to some of the fathers out here. Well, here comes a grandfather at least. Can you come over and say a couple of words for A-Game?
Dad, can I have this?
Boy, put that down. You want to talk to me? Whoa, this 28-year-old body sure don't work like it used to.
28? You look more like you're 78.
Dad, can I go in there?
I can't afford that.
Can I have this horse?
Oh, you done broke the merry-go-round.
Dad, can I have this?
Come save me down here today. This boy done took all my energy.
Wow, you really should try A-Game. It's an all-natural solution that's going to give you the energy and pep you need to keep up with that young whippersnapper you got there.
Can I have this?
Oh, who's gonna pay for all this? Hey, can y'all take a two-party out-of-state check?
Here, try some. Wow, that really turned you into a super dad.
Yeah, and with all this energy, I'm really about to enjoy my father's time.
Well, there you have it, folks. Another super dad. This is Norrin for A-Game TV signing off. Remember, stay on your A-Game.
That little boy was tearing that carnival up. Tearing that carnival down. That is how kids will do you. But to keep up with kids with all that energy, you need to be on your A game. Your A game. Your A game. A game. You got to be on your A game. Keep up with the kids and keep up with your life. And this is why you need your A game. A game is important for the overall health of men because it supports a man's vitality, his energy, his strength, and his libido so that he can keep up with everything, not only the children in his life, but keep up with all of the things in his life that might get away from him if he doesn't have the energy and the mental focus and the strength to deal with them and corral them and do what he needs to do in his life. So very important. Because you don't want to get caught up taking something and using something that is going to give you all kinds of side effects and things of that nature. So this is why A-Game was formulated with 21 wonderful herbs, okay? No artificial ingredients, nothing to make you crash or anything like that, and no inactive ingredients. So what you want to do is you want to click the link at the top of the chat, agameherbal.com, and get your 10% discount using the code Kendra10 so that you can get your A-Game ASAP, okay? All right, and thank you so much, APB said that two-party out-of-state check part cute. It do. The two-party out-of-state check, they don't stop clowning. And I owe y'all a bam, 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 bam. You gotta hit the like button, bam, bam. You gotta because we got 443 wonderful people who have hit the like button. So please, the other 500 or so people, 600 or so people, hit the like button, please, so we can wiggle our way through the algorithm because we are on our way to 100K. We gotta get to 100K. So please like the video, please share it, and please subscribe to it if you like what you're hearing. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, click the bell so you can be notified whenever I drop content, and I drop content every day. Thank you again, Michael McCoo. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you guys. The bots be coming through, don't they? What's the obsession with the prawn bot? Trying to get the channel shut down or something? Is that the obsession? Anyways, so let's get back to this cook. What we were talking about was black women saying that black men were only going to be passport bros in order to just go have this free sex, and they're not looking for love. First of all, that's not their business. But what it's rooted in is black women were the ones that cut off the sanctity of marriage, family, and relationships, right? Going into that entire hookup culture, thought culture, all of that actually degraded the integrity of the family, such that now the men don't see any need to create families with these women who are not only giving up sex left and right, but making the institution and the concept of marriage a damaging thing for black men to go into. Because it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Because the collective of black women have reduced men down to sex and money, which are the two largest and arguably the only two components of the transaction. So if black men are just transactional, who influenced them that way? Who put the cards on the table like that? So to where black men had to play it in a transactional way. When the men never stopped coming to you for marriage. Y'all don't want to be married. Because y'all want to slide around. Because y'all want to be with this man, this man, this man, that man. And you don't want the order of one man. You don't want the structure of one man. You don't like that. That's boring. Thank you, D says side. Can you please do a breakdown of the Destiny Wilson and LSU football team mess? I'm not familiar, but I'll look it up for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, G-Money. Said Crimson, you said it a long time ago, they're upset because they really like the men that are leaving. They're usually too lazy to show up for these men. They're also afraid of being banished from the Hyena clan. Exactly. Thank you so much, G-Money. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I appreciate that. And I agree with that. I'm going to do a little sidebar because I see a response that they don't want those men. Hyenas do want them. Just because let's talk about that for a second. Just because you want somebody don't mean you're going to do right by them. Just because you want them. Wanting them, those people in your life, wanting a person in your life does not mean that just because that person is in your life or you want them in your life, that you're actually going to do what you're supposed to do with that person or do right by that person. People want people in their life all the time to do them wrong, to walk all over them. But they want them in there. They want them in their life. A vast majority of black women work on that They work on that narcissist time. They be on demon time with it. So yes, they do want these eligible, upright, upstanding men. They do want them. But wanting them does not indicate that they are going to be the type of women that those men need or want. See what I mean? Thank you, D, again, said money towards the research of the Destiny Wilson LSU football team mess. I hope you're sitting down when you research. You have piqued my interest. So thank you so much. I'll definitely look into it. Thank you so much for that. I'm definitely, you know what? I'm going to write it down because you know me. Let's see. Destiny Wilson LSU. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to look that up. So we covered the transaction part. If black men are transactional, black women influence them that way by being transactional. Also, this is one of the forms of black women policing black men's sex and their sexuality. Thank you, John. Said, just a reminder, don't forget to look up that raptor call from Jurassic Park. I know you'll use the powers wisely. Okay, I'm going to write that down because I did forget. Mm. Y'all know y'all silly for reminding me of that. But anyway. This is a form, getting mad, trying to shame the passport bros is a form of black women policing black men's sex and their sexuality. This is what black male sexual objectification looks like. The type of shaming that they're doing to black men is what black male sexual objectification by black women look like. Because black women have always attempted to police black men's sexuality, their sex, and their bodies since fully onboarding second wave feminism and beyond. I don't need no man, but I want to dictate what the men do. I don't need no man, but I want to dictate who the men do. I don't got no man, or I don't want no man, or I don't need no man, but I want to make sure to keep tabs on the men that I say I don't want or need. Thank you, Professor Carl. Said it's already past the tipping point. Black men are no longer available for bargain basement prices. The quiet exodus began when they cheered KS dying. Exactly. It took on a life of its own after that. The other little point that they tried to make is that the passport bros, the men who comprise passport bros, are the rejects of the black community. Now, I want to talk about that for a minute. Thank you again, Michael. Said Black woman Jezebel spirit has destroyed our community. It has, definitely. And thank you, Grim Ware. So I hate to type this. I am what you guys would call an old head, being 53. You ain't old. 53 ain't old. I stopped messing with black women in the late 90s. I tried to find black love, but kept getting played and laughed at. I almost got a baby put on me too. Thank God for blood tests. Thank God for blood tests. And I am so glad that you dodged all of them bullets, because it was a lot of bullets. And thank you so very much. So very much. Money said it just shows how shallow they think. They believe a man will uproot his entire life just for sex. Sex is easily accessible in the good old US of A. Men are leaving for legacy. No man is buying the legacy they're selling. That is so very true. This is rooted in the total disregard for understanding male nature and how men think. Definitely. Thank you, Dusty. Said, I don't need you, but I want you. Jeanette Aiko. Yeah. I don't need you, but I want you. I don't need you. Like, girl. All she sing about is a man. Who you fooling? Anyway, here's the thing. We getting down to the nitty gritty. Let's talk about the men who are so-called rejects of the Black community. I want to try to shift the narrative, if we can, on that, on what a reject is. It's not about the rejects being men that are ugly, or men that are not attractive, or men that don't have resources or can't get resources, or men that are smart, or men. See, let me break down this Pookie and non-Pookie whatever. Thank you, Love C. So imagine that. The men with passports, jobs, and willing to travel being called the rejects when that's what hyenas are begging for, money and trips. Girl, who are you telling, girl? Thank you so much. Okay? Like, are we seeing this before our very eyes? Let's deal with the Pookie Ray Ray educated. Let's deal with that. It has never been the difference between one man being physically attractive and the other man not being. These little so-called Pookie Ray Ray little guys, all them guys ain't cute or sexy, like, no. And the guys who are educated, who live their life a different way, are not automatically ugly or unattractive or men that women don't want. That's the same thing on the other side, and I've said this before, of our automatic thinking that the bad girl is hot. She's pretty. The woman that you wife, you got to automatically get an ugly one because that's the wife version. But if you want a pretty woman, that's going to be the slut and the whore. And you see, it's stupid. It's a stupid dichotomy we got to get out of our head. It's an oversimplification of the wrong two things that are being compared. What the real issue is, the real reason why certain Black men are rejected by these so-called Lakeishas and all that type of stuff, is because those men do not subscribe to nor participate in, by and large, the lost value system that the Black culture is thriving on. Do we understand? It's not about attractiveness. These are the lies that the hyena clan will tell you. Thank you, Marvin. Said we are blessed to have such wisdom, our sister. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's not about that's the hyena definition, and that's her narrative. Oh, well, y'all just not sexy enough. Oh, well, y'all just not this. Y'all just not, we just don't want y'all. That it's not about the physical appearance. It's not about whether they're turned on or not. Certain types of guys, these little F-19 F-boy type of guys, represent the lost value system that Black culture is dependent upon and thriving on. Any man that is not participating with that, who has found himself a different value system, he don't subscribe, he's not doing that, he's unattractive to them, not physically. It's not physical. That's not the problem. They just say that because they don't even understand why they're not attracted. Because they know he's not on foolishness, right? This is what I'm talking about. They don't share the value system. These men and these so-called Keishas don't share the same value system. It's not a match. So the men cannot, or they refuse to participate with the women of the culture who are eagerly participating in the lost value system. And the women do not accept men that don't. The reason they don't accept men that don't is because the women themselves do not conform to the individual value system of the man that she trying to take cover under. She only accept the value system of the system she belonged to, which is the lost value system in America. That's what non-submission is. That is what the non-submission is that black men are talking about. Because I have a value system that is different from this. If you're going to be my wife, we're going to live this value system. But no. She's not going to onboard that value system. This is where the rebellion comes from. This is where non-submission comes from. This is where the problem comes from. So we got to get rid of that, you know what I'm saying? These are the men here that's unattractive. No. That we got to stop using hyena narratives. You can't defeat the devils you play with. We're not going to be able to defeat the ideas of the gynocracy while taking on and espousing the ideas of the gynocracy. That's what I mean by that. You're not going to be able to defeat the demons you play with. So here's what it is. The real thing is that black women do not get to utilize white supremacy. This goes back to what Chana was talking about. Black women do not get to utilize white supremacy to determine black men's collective value as men. And that is what has been happening. This is where the disarray is coming from, because black women have always used white supremacy and white male value systems, i.e. the lost value system, to determine and measure and be the measuring stick for the viability and suitability of black men to qualify as men. How long they been whooping y'all with that stick? Thank you, G Money. So the funny part about this whole conversation is that these same hyenas will completely forget about that F-19 when the passport type enters the room. Exactly. Thank you, Frederick said, like Aesop's fables, the grapes are sour. That is what it boils down to. It boils down to they gotta be here for us to utilize the white man's value system to measure them as men. Black men don't qualify as men if they don't live up to our ideal of the lost value system. The kicker box is that black women are not allowed to determine the value of men. That's what I told y'all this morning. Women do not determine the value of men. Men determine the value of men because men define masculinity. Men have always defined masculinity. Men give each other value. Men detect each other's value. Men set the value of what men's value is, not women. Thank you again, Frederick. Oh, okay. You just correcting it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Men determine men's value, not women. And women, black women, still don't get that message. They still think that they get to determine what the men do and who the men are and what makes men men. Men have always determined that. In point of fact, men not only give other men value, men give women value. Men assign value to women. They assign it. Men determine which women are valuable and which ones aren't and why. Thank you, John. Said bars. You're cooler than a polar bear's toenails. Thank you so much. Men determine the value of women and men. Women don't determine the value of nobody. That's why they stopped marrying y'all, because they had given y'all valuation. You're not worth marrying. That's the valuation. You're not worth it. Why would I marry you? Anyway, I'm not going to keep you on overtime. Oh, thank you, Ristic. So I didn't mean to take this long to show up. Had a career change. Oh, that sounds exciting. But thank you and others like you for all you're doing as lionesses in this space. I'm looking forward to your book as well. We can start our own biocultural event. Long as we stay on the back feet next. We can't. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you, Barry. Thank you so much as well. I see a comment that I'm going to answer. Someone said, I don't believe foreign women are perfect. Neither do I. Neither do I. They are not perfect. They're women. They're people. Interestingly, passport bros don't think that the foreign women are perfect either. They don't think that those women are perfect. But here's the thing. The men were never asking for perfection. Black men were never asking black women to be perfect. They were asking black women to be women. They were asking black women to be feminine. They were asking black women to have their interest as men at heart as well, their best interest, to look after their families, to be supportive collectively, to be supportive in the family unit, to be supportive in the community, to be supportive in society of them. That is what black men and all groups of men want. Black men don't want nothing no different than no other man on the earth. It's unnatural to require perfection from imperfect beings. Doesn't even make sense. No black man that I have ever been with seriously wanted perfection out of me. They just wanted the best version of me that I could give them. That's what they wanted. And that it was either acceptable or it was not. Thank you, Miss Veronica. And that is my response to that. And thank you for stating that in the chat, because I think that it was important to actually bring that point out. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Original Man. Say hit dogs holler. Thank you so much. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and before we wrap this up, let me thank everyone for their very generous contributions. Really, really appreciate it. I appreciate you so much. You never know how much I do appreciate you guys. Coming here has been cathartic for me. Coming and doing the live streams. Y'all don't know how much y'all support me, and how much I depend on you guys and how much I lean on you guys. Okay, I love coming here. I love talking to you guys. I love interacting with you. It's such good energy. It's such love and respect here. And I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate my mods for keeping the chat respectful. I just appreciate it. I just really do. And I appreciate all of your contributions. Very generous. Either through Super Chat, through PayPal, or through Cash App. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you supporting my book, Reclaiming the Black Feminine. We're going to have this out soon. I'm looking tentatively at the 15th of this month. But don't hold me to that. I'm giving the time that I need to get everything straightened out and get another proof. I'm going to need another proof because the revisions were quite heavy. So I'm going to need time to get a proof for myself again and then send the books to print. So when those things happen, I'll be able to concrete right in stone when you guys are going to start, when the books are going to start shipping for you guys. So, but you can still make a purchase at crimsoncure.com to get your copy and secure your copy of Reclaiming the Black Feminine. And I really appreciate all of you guys' support and all of you guys' patience with this as we get this together. And please forgive me. Please forgive me for the lateness of this book. I am working day and night and so is my team, to get this book out ASAP and in like perfect condition. Thank you so much, Mr. Bobby Wright. Thank you so much. And my first crush was a black girl in preschool. She was the only black girl in my class. She was catering even at that age. I found out years later her family's Nigerian. Guess I've been a passport since day one. Going to Africa soon. Thank you so much. I appreciate that story. Thank you so much. That's a good one. That's a good story. I like that. Thank you, Randy. Thank you so much for your contributions. I really appreciate all of them. And with that being said, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.